This is Movie and a Beer, a podcast based in Portland, Oregon, where you can share in our discussion about movies and what beers go best with them. From classic cinema to the latest blockbuster, we all can use a little help figuring out what beers to enjoy in the theater or at home. So listen in and explore with us the vast world of ales and lagers to pair up with your movie experience. Hello and welcome to Movie and a Beer. I'm Dan Kopersky, certified beer geek and resident homebrewer.
I'm Blake Hunt, movie geek and freeloader.
And I'm Randall, the guy who likes to learn about beer.
Nice.
Sweet. On this episode of Movie and a Beer, we're going to briefly discuss the movie Pokémon Detective Pikachu.
Pika P.
Pika Pika. And what beers we recommend to enjoy while watching this at the theater or at home. Please note, this podcast is meant to be an informal discussion of the movie without any plot spoilers, because those suck.
You're right, they do suck.
Yeah. And as always, we are located here in Portland, Oregon, so the beers that we do select, or the beer we'll be reviewing for this movie, is indigenous to this area. So you may not have access to it, but that doesn't mean you can't find a beer similar to it in style to enjoy. All right, so what did you guys think of this most excellent movie?
I genuinely liked it. I only ever played the first Pokemon game, but I thought, this is going to be silly, this is going to be ridiculous, and I had a good time the whole way through.
My expectations were pretty low,
Right.
And they were barely exceeded.
Nice.
The beer definitely helped, though.
Did you by chance watch it with your...
Oddly, he wasn't really into it, so we kind of watched it in parts, and I think it might be a generational thing. He's 6 years old, and there's so many franchises for him to latch onto. I don't know if this one is relevant enough in today's world for him to really get excited about it.
Good point. I, like Blake, played a video game of Pokemon many years ago.
Do you remember which color?
I don't remember what color it was. I honestly don't. That was a long time ago. But I did watch the cartoon series that was put out. I really enjoyed having the really blocky Japanese animation that had really super 2D, not a lot of thought put into it. But it's one of those series that just goes forever.
Oh, yeah.
There's never any end, and the characters never get older. So it's kind of like, eh.
Cool, Poke Purgatory.
You could call it that. Well, this movie does star Ryan Reynolds, but not really. He plays a voice character in most of it. I'm not going to plot spoil it, but there is a reason that he plays Pikachu.
I was about to say, you could say he plays Pikachu.
Yeah, he plays Pikachu, but his voice, the reason he is Pikachu is given away towards the end of the movie. We won't plot spoil it, but there are, interesting parts to it. I mean, there's a lot of the estranged son that's the Pokemon trainer that doesn't want to be the Pokemon trainer. He goes through a very difficult time in his life, and one of them being, presumed dead. I don't know. It just seems like a very heavy subject matter for a young audience.
Yeah, I think that's what surprised me about the first 20, 30 minutes of this movie was it was dark. His dad dies, and the kid doesn't seem to really care that his dad dies, and it was just really hard to go into it like that. I was expecting something a little bit lighter. Definitely was surprised by that.
I feel like they went the way they did because all the other Pokemon movies, I'm sure, I've never watched them because they're not Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I'm sure they were all very cheesy and feel good and, oh boy, we're going to save the day! Pika Pika, zap!
Right, yeah, very light fare compared to this movie.
Yeah. Well, this movie was kind of like every genre. It was CGI spectacle, it was drama, it was comedy, it was really a full oeuvre of Ryan Reynolds' work.
Yeah, you know what this movie reminded me of was, where have I seen this before? And then I was like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is exactly that movie. I was like, oh my god, it's like a detective story, and this reluctant character who doesn't like any of these weird characters that are living in this world. The sets were pretty cool, though. I really felt like there was a little Blade Runner-ish vibe to it at some points. and
like futuristic, but
futuristic,
but
and
attainable in our lifetime.
dystopian a little bit, and dark, and the colors were really cool the way they lit it.
Yeah,
and I know they were trying to go for like some sort of noir style of movie. So that was neat. I enjoyed that much.
Yeah, and there are a lot of, I guess you would say, trivia for those that are hardcore Pokemon fans.
yeah.
I mean, it's the one that
you
we
mentioned
talked
the city.
about. Yeah, we talked about a couple of different ones. One being that the voice of Pikachu, when it's not Ryan Reynolds, when you actually hear just Pika Pika, is the actual voice of the gentleman, and I don't have his name in front of me, that voiced Pikachu throughout most of the cartoon and anime.
Iku Otani?
Yeah, so it's like the original. They went and got the original guy to do it, so it sounds as authentic, but you don't really get to hear it a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. Like just 3 or 4 times. And I know this isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer. The whole Charizard fight. There's a point where they show like his appearance isn't like fully healed, and the trivia is talking about because of the Poké Centers and how that works in the world. Like that's deep. That's really deep. Fans wrote this movie. People who know this world wrote this movie.
I definitely feel like there's like in movies like this, there's like they're either written for fans or for everybody who's not a fan. And this definitely felt like they were erring on the side of, well, we're going to write a movie mostly for fans, and we're going to throw in this little scene in the very beginning for those non-fans to bring you up to speed on how to capture a Pokemon or something like that. I thought they could. That's where it lost me a little bit. I wasn't a fan, so I feel like I jumped into this world that I didn't really know a lot about, and I wasn't sure why I should care about some of these things.
My question is did everyone in the city who has a Pokemon with them, did they go capture the Pokemon? Did the Pokemon pick them?
I had no, yeah.
They can't. It's never really clear that. So the Pokemon and the Master, do they communicate, telepathy wise, or do they actually speak to each other and understand each other? Because that's brought up about Pikachu is no one can understand Pikachu except the one that he has been chosen. And
if it's based on the lore of the movies and games, as I understand it, again, very light Pokemon geek. It's like that's part of that whole connection. It's why like Ash wins all his fights, even though technically electric doesn't work against ground, but he took out Onyx anyway, big deal. It's because they have that connection of, and I think they do understand their personal Pokemons. I think.
Yeah,
I mean, that's I would presume. Otherwise, it's just like, side duck, go do the thing. Side duck. I don't. What are you saying? I just need you to get the thing. You're just standing there. Why won't you help?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I actually care one way or the other. Honestly, like this movie didn't have a lot of depth.
I'm done. Quit.
Yeah. This movie didn't have a lot of depth, but then again, the source material was a video game or a card game, so I'm like, well, I'm not expecting to understand too much beyond.
That's fair. I mean, the whole video games thing was you have to catch them all.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much the plot of this movie, I think.
Yeah, catch all those feelings.
Yeah, right. Catch all those feelings.
And it does have a happy ending. So
yeah. Don't worry about like going with your kids, renting it for the weekend, and then them weeping at the end because Pikachu goes to heaven or something.
Yeah, no, it does have a happy
All
ending.
Pikas go to heaven.
All Pikas go to heaven, yes.
And stealing that idea to pitch to Disney.
As you mentioned, Randall, about having a child or a young child or
a youth,
a
young child, old enough to pay attention but didn't want to pay attention. I think that's a good point to make.
Yeah.
Most parents, I'm sure, have understood how channel surfing works with their child. If they don't like this, put it on something else. It's hard to do when you have a movie you've rented or paid for, but
totally.
If you can get the movie for free in some way,
or if your kids are fans of Pikachu or Pokemon, like this is going to be the perfect film for them, and you might enjoy it as a parent or someone not initiated in the club because of Ryan Reynolds' performance. It was really enjoyable, and
he's great.
He made. I mean, without him, the characters are just flat, boring. The humans, anyways. The Pokemon are pretty cool.
I liked the reporter girl. She was fun.
She was cool, yeah.
Dan DeVito, there was a fans wanted to have Dan DeVito voice Pikachu.
Oh.
There was like a petition going around, and I can't stop thinking about what that would be like. Just him. We gotta find your dad!
I couldn't imagine that, actually. That would be really
disturbing. I can't, but I want to hear it.
I would just imagine the Penguin the entire time. Remember when he played the Penguin in Tim Burton's movie?
Yes.
The
For me,
Batman?
he's Frank Reynolds from
Oh,
It's
jeez.
Always Sunny.
Yeah, that's a classic. That's not something I'm going to watch with Valentino though.
No.
Definitely not.
All right, so what are we drinking with this? What are we drinking with this movie?
We're drinking with this movie an Ninkasi Brewing Company Pacific Rain Northwest Pale. So this beer is made by Ninkasi Brewing, which is somewhat of a local brewery. They're located in Oregon. They are conveniently sold by the case or 12-pack or 6-pack in various places. This does have a nice aromatic to it. This does have some decent pouring out of the bottle here real quick into our taster glasses so we each have a chance to experience it.
It's a very pretty beer.
It is a very nice, pretty beer. It's very golden colors. You can get some chill haze on your glass, but it is primarily clear. There might be a little bit of cloudiness with it. It does have a tight, white, medium to small bubble head that does leave a little lacing.
Ninkasi sounds like a Pokemon that I would capture.
Yes.
All right, so if it's Ninkasi, I'd say poison type. Maybe ground.
Type.
So this beer is 5.4% alcohol by volume and about 50 IBUs. There is kind of a bitter herbal front to it. You'll get a little bit of that on the nose.
It's a little bit of a bite.
A little bit.
That's one of its moves it learns.
This beer does not change a lot of flavor as it warms up. That's why I picked it. It's a nice, not heavy alcohol forward or anything. It just has a nice bite to it. Stays consistent even as it warms up. It may get a little bit more grassy as it warms up, but I'm really happy with this beer. It does have a lot of, grainy cereal sweetness to the back a little bit to kind of hold you, make you want to drink a little more. It's a pretty uncomplicated American pale ale.
Kind of like this movie, just uncomplicated, simple, kind of a...
Except if you're wondering, how do they understand their Pokemon?
except for when you start digging a little bit deeper about how does this work again?
Well, I didn't know this about the games. I think it happened later, but during the movie, Pikachu just keeps drinking coffee, and it's a reference to the games. Kind of works. A little bit of a bite at the beginning. Bitter drink that Pikachu loves so much.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of overlaps with that a little bit. I did not know that there was going to be mass consumption of coffee during the film by one of the characters, but this does, has a little bit of bite in the front, and then it's got the little citrus kind of bread doughy, kind of malt on the back that sweetens it a little bit and cuts that hoppy bitterness that some people don't like.
Yeah, I'm liking it.
It's a nice beer. Can't complain. Randall, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I could definitely see myself putting away 4 or 5 of these before actually watching the sequel to whatever happens next.
Beat Cop Pikachu. He got demoted. He's a rebel without a cause.
It was fine. The movie was great. This beer is definitely a million times better experience than the movie was for me. I like it. It's easy to drink. It's got a little bit of bite. It's a little bit, it's got that nice bite. It reminds me of those characters a little bit. It reminds me of those Pokemon.
We have 2 thumbs up and a middle.
I would say it's...
Let's give him 4 or 5 of these and watch it again.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, 4 or 5 and I would drink it. I would watch it again in a heartbeat.
Right on. As always, thank you for listening and joining us today for our episode of Movie and a Beer. Did a brief discussion on Detective Pikachu,
Pika-P,
Pokemon movie extraordinaire, and this wonderful Pacific Rain by Ninkasi Brewing Company is our recommendation. If you can't find this beer, find a pale ale that's like it. A little grassy up front, a little bite of the citrus, and then some sweetness on the back. Stays consistent throughout the movie. The movie itself does have some ups and downs, and I think giving you an opportunity to take a break and grab another beer if you need. Somewhat of a shorter movie. It's only like 80 minutes, right? It's not a real long movie.
It wasn't long. I think it was even shorter than that, wasn't it? It felt really short.
Yeah, it was a pretty fast movie. They crammed in as much as they could about the characters and about what little development they could. Yeah, it's a kid's movie. I don't mind it.
And Pokemon. I liked it.
It wasn't that bad. It was great.
He's turning around. Let's talk to him more.
Yeah. Give me another beer. I'll love it.
Yeah, cool. All right, so thanks for listening, and as always, drink responsibly, and please note that the opinions expressed during this taping of the podcast are those of the hosts. All right, everybody, thanks for listening. And
thanks, everybody.
Pikachu!
Thanks for listening. This has been Movie and a Beer. Stay tuned for future episodes and features to be added to our website and podcast. And please remember to drink responsibly and hydrate. hydrate.